Okay, we're going to start the meeting at 6:45. 1.0, 2.0, call to order. 3.0, roll call. Mr. Huerta,
Here.
Ms. Gomez,
Here.
Macarino,
Absent.
absent. Ms. Lopez,
Here.
Mr. Vasquez.
Absent.
And myself, Mr. Alvarez. Will you please stand for the flag salute?
Ms. Joanne, can you lead us?
Ready?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
4.0. 4.1, approval of the agenda is requested as presented.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0, correct?
Yes.
Right. Do we need an interpreter? Anybody? Interpreter?
¿Alguien necesita traducción? ¿En español? ¿Francés? No. Okay. No one.
Okay. 5.0, consent calendar. 5.1, approval of regular board meeting minutes for February 28th, 2023.
Move.
Alice
Second.
Lopez, second. Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 5.2, approval of release warrants dated February 20, 2023 in the amount of $299,276.29. March 2nd, 2023 in the amount of $73,579.78.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Six point oh, awards presentation. 6.1, student board member report.
Good afternoon. Last week, many kids and myself volunteered for Valley Children's Kid Day. It was a very fun experience and an easy way to get money. We were posted by the Fast Trip light and the Jack in the Box light. We also had some officers looking out for us. Did I mention that last year when I did it, we made about $200, and this year we made over $1,200, way more than last year? Moving on to sports, our softball season this year is going great with all the wins, and our baseball team has many ups and downs, but with time we could get better. That's all I have for you today. Thank you.
7.0, people to be heard. 7.1, approval of facility use agreement for Farmersville Boys Wrestling for the use of the Farmersville High School gym. Ken Olson.
Mr. Olson?
Well, thank you for letting me talk a little bit. This is the first time I've been at a board meeting here at Farmersville, and I was pretty excited. I've been here eight months, and we've made a lot of improvement and finished second in the league to Wood Lake and fifth in the Division 5. So we're getting there. We have 6 seniors, and I think 3 of them are going to go on to wrestle in college. So that's exciting. What I'm here tonight for, though, is to get approval from the district as far as a tournament we're going to have for Farmersville kids March 25th, which is a Saturday. And we've had 5 tournaments at the school since I've been there, and we find it's a pretty good way of, and this I've done this everywhere I've been, but a pretty good way of showing the community that we're here to help, whether it's getting gas, somebody coming in from Exeter or wherever to get gas, or to help the community. We just had a banquet last night, and we used community people as far as everywhere, and so that was a good thing. But this is a tournament that our kids run it. They wrestle it. We had 25 kids at our practice this afternoon, and it's growing. And so we're excited about this, and this is something that I've done for years. It's I started my 48th year of coaching, so it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing this group of kids grow. And so, is there any questions? I know I left kind of a
Sabrina, you have any?
a syllabus type of thing as far as but what we do is we have weigh-ins at 7 in the morning. Wrestling will start at 9 o'clock, and it usually will be over with about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so it's a very simple process, and I'm just here to see if we can do that.
Do we plan to win?
Always.
I don't have any questions.
Alice?
Yes, you indicated that these are all Farmersville.
All Farmersville kids. The ones that are wrestling also will be from outside, but this is all about Farmersville as far as if we're making money, it's about using that for Farmersville kids, not outside or we're here to help Farmersville kids, not anywhere else.
So this is mostly to get our kids ready when they're
Right, well-
or whatever, what is it called? I mean,
Well, it's the Central Valley Wrestling Association, and what we do, for instance, we had a tournament last week at Selma Arena, and the kids had to spend $50 for entry fees. This is $17. By the time some of these kids who have 2 or 3, well, their parents have 2 or 3 kids, you could probably go to Disneyland a lot cheaper. And so we're in this association, basically, there's about 5 or 6 tournaments, but this is the first one. And we usually average about 350 kids at the tournament. And so it's a good way of getting us started as far as the 5th graders, the kindergartners, all the way through. So, but it's a $17 entry fee, which is a lot cheaper than a $50 or $100 or, so it's where we're at, and that's a good thing.
okay, thank
So
you.
my question is, what are you looking at revenues coming in? What are you estimating?
The last time we ran something like this was in October. I think we had $1,750.
Okay.
Yeah,
Your expenses are about,
and then that's not counting concession or gate, so that it could run around 3,000.
okay. Okay, so, motion to do, what would you like to do?
You know, I am not one to ever do
I
this.
know you're not.
But because he is telling me this is solely Farmersville boys and girls, I make a motion that we waive all fees.
Have a second?
I second it.
All right, motion by Alice Lopez, second by Sabrina Gomez. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. All right, well,
Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
excuse me. Okay. Let's see. Public comment, 8.0. Members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or other items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board before or during the governing board's consideration of the item. The board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes, individual topics to 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name.
The board also asks that during public comment, everyone be respectful of the speakers. Members of the public shall not interrupt or interject while another person is giving their public comment at the podium. During public comment, there shall be no use of foul language. Should a member of the public have a concern about a specific employee, we ask that you direct those concerns to me, the superintendent, after this meeting so that we are handling it through the proper procedures. Please do not use employee or student names during public comment. Board President, we have 3 speaker cards. Well, Kent, you already spoke.
Yeah, Ken spoke.
Okay. Let's give Ken a big round of applause. He has spoken. All right. So we have 2 then, sir.
Okay.
First is Luay Huerta. I hope I pronounced your name right. Luri. Well, I didn't see the D. It looked like an A. I didn't want to be Luriviana.
It's Ludivina. See, you said it wrong again.
Oh my God. Wow.
You want me to spell the long one or the short one?
No. Let me try it again.
Okay,
Miss Ludi Huerta.
there you go.
Yes. All right, good.
So my name is Ludi, L-U-D-Y, so you guys can get it right. I have been at Farmersville Unified for 4 years now, preferably at the high school. And I have been an opportunity to be as a community liaison to work closely with our community, parents, and the students. It has been very rewarding to be in this district. I know the impact that our classified members have on our parents, and I am concerned about losing employees because of higher paying jobs being offered elsewhere. We as a union feel that our request for salary increase and longevity increase is much deserved. We are the people many of our communities see first when entering the site. It benefits the whole district to see familiar faces and people our parents know, and our members will eventually leave if we don't stay competitive with the workforce. Thank you. And L-U-D-Y.
Thank you, Ludi. I promise never to get it wrong ever again.
You'll never forget me.
No, ma'am. Next, Ms. Joanne Benitez.
Good evening, board members and district officials. Let me start by introducing myself, just in case someone in here doesn't know who I am. Joanne Benitez, I am the school secretary at Farmersville Junior High School, and I have service with this district since 2002, so starting my 21st year here. I am also here tonight additionally to introduce myself to the board as the CSEA Chapter 518 president, the classified unit here with Farmersville. The purpose of my attendance and the presence of my fellow members is to make you acquainted with some of the faces that represent the classified unit. I come as the voice of our collective to express and reiterate that most of our members here in this district serve our community with many years' experience as well. And they come with longevity, but more importantly, with a full heart, ready to serve the children and always with a smile on their faces. When district negotiation team approaches you, I want to help you understand that requests that we give initially, there's 49 members with longevity for the district. And an impact for 49 members of us for a longevity increase approximates $10,000. So when you look at the numbers versus the dollar amount, individually it's much less. So we just want you to consider that. We understand that you can't comment. A raise is also being negotiated. And we just want you to connect the faces with the requests, who we are, what we are, and letting you guys know that our members are now on board to attend the board meetings with me, not only as support, but also to help teach them, mentor them, and guide them to better understand what the governing process is, as well as them being here daily, putting in the work for the district. I mentioned they have many years of experience. Some have worked here decades, and that alone speaks volume of the type of work ethic these members hold. And also, yes, our requests initially in negotiations may be financially outrageous, but that's what working collaboratively is. And the goal here is to work with you guys for an appropriate salary increase to maintain sufficient health and welfare benefits and some perks that are going to keep us motivated with higher morale to best serve the community of Farmersville, which is what everyone's intention here should be. The most important for these requests, we want you to understand, is so that our members here can be afforded the opportunity to sustain a household in today's economy, because that's getting more and more difficult. So it is much more enticing to apply for jobs elsewhere because they have more health and welfare benefits, less out-of-pocket expenses, and sometimes it's just a better deal for them. I want to thank you for your consideration, all that you do for the community, your support of the classified members, and we hope that you see who we are, know that we're going to be here, and we look forward to continue negotiating with you guys. So thank you for your time.
Okay, 8.1, superintendent's comments.
All right, thank you, sir. I have a couple of announcements. We had our second round of successful community forums here at Freedom. And our next one, if you want to mark your calendars, will be on May 4th. That'll be the final one for this year. It'll be in both English and Spanish at Freedom. We're trying to make it into a celebration thematic with Cinco de Mayo. So we'll be celebrating as a district what we've been able to gain this year and map out what we need to do next together. Also, all of our schools will begin having open houses, the first one being at Hester this Thursday. So I look forward to seeing families out there. Para mis parlantes de español, vamos a tener open house este jueves en la escuela de Hester a las 6 de la tarde para que vengan a conocer a sus maestros y ver el trabajo de sus hijos. Also next, LCAP season is here again. So hopefully all of you received, we sent out via Parent Square and to all the staff via email, everybody a copy of the LCAP. Did you receive it? Yeah? Maybe? No? Okay. And you didn't delete it? Okay, good. That's in an effort to be transparent so you can see exactly what is going on fiscally and to invite you to join us in the process to make joint decisions of what's best for our district and how we can best serve our students. So that was the motivation behind sending that out. We also sent it out to all of our parents. Todos los padres recibieron una copia del LCAP a través de Parent Square, so por favor no lo tiren. Es un documento que utilizamos para determinar cómo gastar nuestros centavos. I'm doing bilingual for our people that are watching online. Next, summer school. So summer school will be June 5th through June 23rd. And grades pre-K to 6th grade will be here at Freedom. Grades 7 through 12 will be at the junior high. So we look forward to having a very successful summer school, be an opportunity for our secondary kids, high school kids for credit recovery, and it'll be an opportunity for English learners to have an intensive language academy that we have planned for them, and for all of our other students so we can close the achievement gap and get our students better prepared for the following year. Failure is not an option, and so hopefully everybody will help us out in making sure that it is a success for our children. And then lastly, I want to thank our students. They're not here today, but they've been coming to the board meeting and they might be watching online. So I want to thank our students and remind all of us that that's the reason why we're all here, is to serve our children and to give them a fighting chance so they can overcome poverty in their community and beyond. And the only way to do that is by getting a high quality education. And so we're in this together to make sure that that happens. And then lastly, I do see you. And this goes out to all of our administrators, staff, directors, and our CSEA members and FTA members. So I do see you, and we look forward to having a long and healthy working relationship moving forward. So thank you for your time. I yield back. This is like Congress.
Okay, let's move on. 12.0 curriculum. 12.1 approval of California College Guidance Incentive Partnership Agreement 2023 to 2026.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Is it mic loudness?
Maybe me. I don't want to get too loud. Okay, testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Alice?
Can you hear?
Yeah, okay. 12.2, approval of A through G completion improvement grant program.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.0, personnel. 13.1, approval of all certificated personnel. Item 13.1.1 through item 13.1.2.
Move.
Alice Lopez.
Second.
Rena Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.2, approval of classified personnel. Item 13.2.1.
Move.
Alice Lopez.
Second.
Rena Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Uh, 13.3, approval of extracurricular activity coaching personnel, item 13.3.1 through item 13.3.10.
Move.
Alice
Second.
Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.4, personnel action report, information only. 13.5, adoption of resolution number 17-03-14-23 for non-reelect of probational certificated employees.
Move.
Alice
Second.
Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Are we going too fast, Sabrina?
No,
Okay.
my stickies didn't go as planned.
Okay. Sorry, I'll put the brakes a little bit. 13.6, approval of a memorandum of understanding with California School Employees Association regarding child care aid.
Move.
Alice
Second.
Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.7, approval of memorandum of understanding with California School Associations, extending period memorandums of understanding regarding community liaison, health aides, attendance clerk, and office clerk.
Move.
Second.
Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.8, approval of memorandum of understanding with California School Employees Association regarding health aides.
Move.
Second.
Alice Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.9, approval of accounting technician job description.
Approve.
Sabrina Gomez,
I motion it.
Second.
second Alice Lopez.
I was just giving her a chance.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 13.10, approval of memorandum of understanding with California School Employees Association, updating job description for the accounting technician.
Motion, yeah.
Sabrina
Second.
Gomez, Alice
Either.
Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Okay.
14.0, board business. 14.1, approve contract with Leadership Association LLC to facilitate the superintendent evaluation process.
Move.
Second.
Ms. Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 14.2, consideration of any item any member of the board wishes to have on a future agenda or provided a written update.
I don't have any at this time.
Alice?
Not at this time.
And I have nothing at this time. We're gonna let you ride, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, 15.0, business services. 15.1, facility update report.
Mr. Pat Hunt. He's our Director of Maintenance and Operations and Transportation, originator from Tulare, and now working with us here.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Pat Hunt. I'm the Director of MOT. I won't say what that means because it takes forever. Just a facilities update. The date is wrong on top, by the way. I forgot to correct that. But for now, at the high school, bidding is out on the high school kitchen HVAC replacement. Due to the long lead time, the plan is to have the work done during the winter break, next winter, during the school year. And I hope to have bid results by next board meeting, so we should be receiving those this week. Home ec room modernization is underway. The countertops have been picked out. We'll be doing an upgrade along with the appliances. We'll try to get this completed over spring break. Also, we are still waiting on estimates for the new scoreboards for the sports fields. The district is looking into estimates for new lighting on practice fields, baseball, and softball. A company called Sebastian has met with us for the layout to provide us with an estimate on the lighting. The boys' locker room lockers are ordered and will be installed during the summer break. At the junior high, Apex Electric is repairing the scoreboards in the gym, and it was identified that the low voltage wiring for the control board will need to be replaced with new wiring, so we are estimating to have this project completed this week. Snowden School, the new HVAC in the cafeteria is installed. It's up and running. It's going through tests. The contractor must remove the old coolers and complete the roof repairs still. Hester School, the new well will be drilled during spring break while students and staff are not on campus. They plan on doing 24-hour shifts to try to complete the task. The new HVAC system over there is installed, up and running. The contractor must remove the old cooler and complete the roof repairs as well. The two portables with the district that the district purchased are in the development stage to for the preschool classroom area. We have sent CDC application in for approval for the funding, estimating $150,000 to complete the project. That project we're looking at adding new AC, a couple of new playground pieces, some fencing, repainting. So we want to really spruce it up for our kids. So the new district property by Snowden, most of you have seen the structures are gone. We are pushing, they've been removed, and about a foot under the soil we found asphalt. So the contractor asked if he wanted them to remove it, and it's cheaper to do it now than it is later. So he is working on doing that portion of work as well. So we will run into more obstacles, I'm sure. Surveyors have been out there though, so checking the area. So the additional estimated work for removal of the asphalt is about $12,000. I will be presenting on the next board meeting two options for the new transportation area on the new property. That'll include the transportation area and parking to help with the decision of the parking area where the solar arrays are located. This will be the first phase that will need to be completed on the property by this summer so the solar project won't be delayed. Plans are also being drawn up for the solar project for the junior high to add additional concrete in place of the playground area where the solar will be installed. The district should receive an estimate cost on this that will be presented at the next board meeting. And let's see. The solar project is underway. We've had surveyors out, been on the sites along with the core drillers getting samples of the ground. They're marking and identifying underground pipes, electrical, sewer. We're holding weekly meetings to ensure our meeting to meet all deadlines. Timeline of work has not been developed yet, and we're waiting for the contractor to provide that. So at this time, I'd like to open up any questions the board may have.
Sabrina?
No.
I could repeat it for you if you needed to.
No.
Any
No,
questions?
no questions?
Ellen?
Just a few. So I assume that our cafeteria people are a little bit happier. Well, they probably don't care for the air conditioning now, right? Because it's cold. But hopefully they'll be happier with the AC. But I was going to ask on the concrete that's going to be poured at the junior high, will it be poured in a way so that it makes sure that you don't have additional water running towards the buildings and so forth?
Yes, and not only taking care of the water issue to go away from the structures, there'll be a retaining wall put in place on the north side of it, and ADA accessibility on the east side of it towards the play area. So those are two components that we've identified that needed to be in, along with the water runoff.
And also on the classroom, the preschool classrooms, those are going to be placed on concrete, right? Not on, we got wood stands or whatever. We want to make sure that they last a while.
So currently, it was used as a community day school when I first got here. They're in their current positions. They are on pre-treated boards. So that's to the cost to move them, lift them, scoot them, pour the slab. That would be very, very costly. The floor conditions are very good. We just walked it this week. The inside of the rooms, just carpet cleaning and repainting. The condition of the floors, I had our maintenance team check out, who did several repairs last summer on a lot of floors, and everything seems to be in good order right now structurally.
All right, I know that at Snowden, we had some problems with some of the portables, correct?
Yeah, Snowden, junior high, yeah, we had a lot of repairs, more than anticipated.
Okay, there was one more question. Okay, the ratio for student to play area, is there a certain ratio that we have to keep?
Usually, depending on the play structure, the ratio is figured in depending on the company. So
Just the structure, I mean the whole
the play area,
play area.
yeah, that's based off the structure size. And usually you have anywhere from 20 to 35 students on average for one play structure. So we're looking at putting 2 in there. So that'll kind of give you, because we're estimating about 20 to 24 students per class. So we want to make sure we meet capacity in the play area.
Okay, so that was at the day school, correct?
Correct.
But for future plans, weren't we planning to at one point expand also to the east at Hester?
Correct.
Yes.
So that's the question there. If we're planning to expand, are we going to be still within the ratio of the play area to student population?
Yes, that play area structure there for the new development on the 9 classrooms, they provided a playground structure in there for the student capacity that's going to be there.
Okay.
But we do have enough square footage
Yes,
to cover our students, and the way it works in the school, the additional factor would be the scheduling, so that not all students would be out at the same time. And that's another security piece to make sure that there's ample room so we don't have kids overcrowded
correct.
in that area.
Okay. So I guess the last question is not on your, regarding the update, but just generally, our water, any flooding that have we had at any of the facilities?
Yeah, I'll provide an update on our atmospheric river.
Yes.
It's been quite challenging. I've been in contact with the city. We went out and verified each time it's been raining that our canals, 2 or 3 of them are being used. We mapped out on a city map what was being used to run water through town. And we have 3. The one on Virginia is empty right now. And we have 2 others that are empty as well. So everything's looking fairly well. The condition of our school sites, like most districts in Tulare County, are experiencing leaky roofs, which Thursday we have a plan in place to start repairing those leaks with our staff in-house. It's just been leaky roofs, damp ceiling tiles so far. We haven't had any major issues yet with water getting into classrooms.
No major pooling of water?
The only major pooling of water was not this rain, but the previous rain right in front of the junior high. And we went ahead and started pumping. The city was busy, and so we went ahead and took care of that. We also unplugged the drain on the other side of the road too. But when we drove around today, there was no pooling. We seen that the gutter systems are working effectively. The ponding basins within town are about 50% capacity, so we still have room for
Well,
additional
yeah.
water.
I'm happy to hear that, but I want to make sure that on campus too, that there's no major pooling where our students have to walk through water.
The two major pooling parts is when we did our walkthrough last year on the concrete at the junior high, which we had a pump available to keep that going, to keep the water flow out of there as much as possible. The other one was at Freedom, where we need to correct the concrete between the cafeteria and the administration building. So those were the only pooling areas. Everything else looked pretty good.
Okay.
I do want to
I was
public.
looking out here to see if anybody's nodding no or
Yeah.
whatever. but
I do want to commend our MOT,
Yes.
Pat and the team. They really are our first responders. They were out there in the rain. Many of them got soaking wet, but they were clearing gutters and even working in collaboration with the city and doing some cooperative work and clearing gutters on city property to make sure that our children don't get caught up in deep puddles as they walk home. And they're gonna be repairing the roof, the different leak areas between now and the next rain, which is expected next Wednesday. So they're gonna be working on it on Thursday moving forward. And it just so happens that on top of the many skills, Pat also has a license for roofing, so we're able to do that in-house, because if we were to contract that out, they'll show up in June, because right now they're inundated with work. And so I do want to publicly commend the MOT team and Pat. They were just out there like superheroes, making sure that our kids stayed as dry as possible under the conditions. So thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
team.
Very much. Thank you.
So, how long is it taking to get our guys certified to do the roofing? A couple of days, or what do you think?
So what we're going to do is I'm going to go up and train them. Thursday and Friday is the plan, weather permitting. Once we go through and start doing the patch repair training, it's usually about a 2-3 day process. So I'll be up on the roofs active with them, going over different repairs, how to take care of things. Also, the company that we're going to be purchasing the material from will also make a point once roads are available and things are opened up. And they're going to come down, send somebody down to help confirm and certify our maintenance team. So it'll be really good for them. It'll be a good growth for the district too. So
Concerning the infrastructure at the new property over there, I understand we have a lot of issues underground. We're cleaning all that stuff up. Do we have a drainage system or storm drainage set up, designed already, or something the
yes,
city requires?
yes. So the drain system will be doing drains for the parking areas. The IDs is what they call them, identified drains. And so I believe there's 3 to 4 drains, and it'll be tied in with the city drain system. That plan will also have to go to the planning committee to review for the city, so that way we make sure the estimated water flow matches with their drain system and the roads, so we don't have problems.
And what are we talking time-wise on that? City getting that approved and going to them?
So once it's approved by the board to move forward on it, and we choose one, then I'm immediately have already made contact with the city. So they're just waiting for those plan sets to review as well. I'm estimating within 2 months to 3 months
3 months?
to be moving on the project with putting some new asphalt and taking care of some infrastructure over there.
As far as the electrical and gas, do we have that going into the building, or?
There are electrical and gas and water. It's shut off at the street currently.
Right.
There's several valve boxes when we do plan. That site actually is 6 addresses,
Right.
which we're going to convert down to 1 through the planning. There is also a communications line to the apartments just south of Fast Trip, which was cut. That's how we found out that it went over there. The company came out free of charge, repaired it. I've also met with that company to put that underground so we don't have those issues with our bigger buses and larger equipment going through there.
Okay, so tying this all together and getting to the city with all the plan, electrical, one gas line, all that stuff, you'll have all that ready to go, submitted all at one time,
I will try.
yeah? All right. Because
If you approve the entire project to go all at once, we'll make it happen, but I believe we'll phase it out.
All right, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we at? Facility update, okay. 15.2, approval of contract for audit services from Christie White Incorporated.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. 15.3, second period interim presentation. You have 3
Yes,
minutes.
Mr. Jason Kai.
You have 3 minutes, Jason.
Okay, well, first of all, I always like to start off these presentations by allowing the board, first of all, thanking you, the board here, for this opportunity to give this financial report. It's important that we keep the board informed and the public as well regarding our current financial status. I always like to go over basically, first of all, and so this is kind of the same thing I do at probably every interim report, basically the reason why we do these reports. First of all, it's a state requirement to improve fiscal awareness and accountability of public school districts. So what the board has in front of it tonight is what we call the second interim. And so this report reflects the budget and actual expenses, revenues and expenditures from July 1st, 2022 through January 31st of 2023. It includes budget reports for all funds and includes multi-year projections for this year, 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25. I also think it's important to go over some of the major factors that go into these reports, because these are the factors that basically determine what our revenue projections look like, as well as what our expenditure projections look like. So I have here on our first bullet, which is the statutory COLA for this year and the next 2 years. And so for this year, we're looking at about 6.56%. For next year, the COLA is estimated to be at 8.13%. And for 24-25, they're projecting the COLA out to be around 3.54%. Now, the COLA percentages that the board has in front of it tonight are exactly what we use in our calculations, and these are what are given to us by the county office. It's also important to just let everybody know that throughout the next couple years, as we have seen, we're going to see our PERS rates increase. So for this year, our PERS rate is about 25.37. Next year, 23-24, they're projecting it to go up to about 27%. And for 24-25, they're projecting it to go up to around 28.1%. STRS rates as well. We are using the county office approved rates. Currently, the STRS rate is basically set for the next 3 years. So that's why you're seeing that figure there, 19.10%, being reflected for this year, 23-24, and 24-25. And next major thing that's very important with regards to our revenue is average daily attendance, or what we call ADA. Once again, the district and all public school districts receive by far the majority of their revenue through average daily attendance. So basically, the more often students come to school, basically that results in the more revenue that school districts receive. So we're estimating our ADA to be around 2417 this year. Our ADA has fluctuated a little bit in the prior years. It hasn't fluctuated too much, so I'm not really that worried about it. basically the way ADA works is you're allowed to use your current year ADA, which is based off of P2, or you can use the prior year's ADA, or there's a new one called a 3-year rolling average. And so the state allows you to use the higher of the three, and so we choose the higher of the three, which results in more revenue for the district. 22, 23. So this bullet is similar to the bullet we saw at first interim, but our budget here in front of us includes some significant one-time funds. First of all, there's one that we call the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant. Once again, that one sunsets September 30th, 2023, or at least a part of it does, and another part of it sunsets September 30th, 2024. We also have ESSERS 2. Once again, that one sunsets September 30th, 2023. And the last bullet there we're seeing is ESSERS 3, and that one sunsets September 30th, 2024. And as we get to the multi-year projections and the general fund, we'll see that effect as we start seeing those revenues reduce throughout the years. So here what we have is the general fund. And I like to focus on the general fund. First of all, it's our biggest fund we have. And secondly, it's the fund that we have the most activity in. So in this slide here that the board has before it is the general fund. It's composed basically of two pieces. On our first column there, you'll see it's identified as the 2023 unrestricted side. So basically, unrestricted revenue is revenue that school districts can use for basically any allowable school purpose. So you'll see there our first revenue category is LCFF. And so by far, we receive the majority of our funding through LCFF. You'll see there where we're projected to receive about $35.4 million in LCFF. Then we have a little bit of unrestricted federal revenue, some other state revenue, and other local. But in total, we're looking at our projected revenue of about $36.2 million just on the unrestricted side of the general fund. Going below that, you'll see the different expense categories, going all the way through salaries, benefits, supplies, services, capital outlay, and so forth. When we look on that, and that total, we're projecting our total expenditures to be about $36.3 million. Then right below that, you'll see a transfers out, and there's a $448,000 figure there. That is a budgeted contribution to the cafeteria in case the cafeteria needs it. Sometimes the cafeteria doesn't produce enough revenue to cover the expenditures, so the general fund has to make a contribution to the cafeteria to make sure that it can keep paying its bills. So that's what that 448 represents. The next thing that you'll see below that is in other financing sources uses. That's about $2.1 million. And so once again, what that is that there's $2.1 million from the unrestricted side that is going to the restricted side of the general fund, so it can fund certain programs that don't receive enough revenue to basically cover their expenses. And by far, that is not unusual. That happens in all school districts. So in total, just on the unrestricted side, once we, add the revenues and expenditures and transfers out and other financing sources, we're looking at a projected decrease of about $2.7 million. Now, once again, as I've said in other presentations, we're required to budget in this fashion. For the most part, we don't spend everything that we have in here, but nonetheless, we're required to budget in this fashion. So when it's all said and done at year end, I would expect that number to be not 2.7, somewhat less. Going over to the next column, which is the 2023 restricted side. So once again, this is funding that we receive that basically has certain strings attached. This fund you can only spend on certain things. A couple good examples would be Title I, for instance, Title II, or Title III. Some other big restricted funding sources that we have now, which we went over on the other slide, are the ESSERS 2 and ESSERS 3. Those can only be spent on certain things, and as a result, those are called restricted funds. So you'll notice on the restricted side, we were projecting about $12.6 million in restricted funding, and by far, that 12.6 is composed, majority of it is in the one-time funding sources that we're seeing in those bottom three bullets there that we saw on the previous slide. But going back to the total revenues, so we were projecting our restricted revenue to come in at about $16.5 million. And then once again, below that, we have our different expense categories. We're projecting our total expenditures to be about 20.9. You'll see right below that, there's the $2.1 million figure. So that is basically the money coming from the general fund, and it's going into the into the restricted side of the general fund to fund certain programs. So that's what that represents. And we are projecting a net decrease of about $2.2 million. Now, once again, on that, I'm not basically worried about that $2.2 million decrease for the main reason that the majority of that is composed of spending down the one-time revenues. And once again, as the board is probably aware, we basically have to spend those revenues by a certain time frame or we lose them. And so that's why you're seeing such a significant decrease, at least in that column right there. So the third column over is the combined, which is basically both pieces of the general fund added together. So when we do that in total, we're looking at about total revenue of about 52.7 million. And then going down to expenditures, we're looking at expenditures of about 57.2. We have the transfers out. Once again, that's at 448. That's what we're projecting that the cafeteria might need as a result. That's why you're seeing it there. And so in total for the entire general fund, we're projecting a net decrease of about $4.9 million. Now, once again, in my years here, I've never seen us basically spend every dollar that we've budgeted. However, nonetheless, we're required to budget in this fashion. And once again, I want to just let the board know one of the major factors that we're seeing such a significant net decrease in fund balance here is attributable to spending down those one-time revenues. Because once again, we have to basically spend them or we lose them. So from here, we'll go to the next slide. And this is what we call our multi-year projection, which is extremely important. As I've mentioned before, we're required to do this form, and which is really good for the main reason that we're required to project out our expenses and revenues for the next 3 years to see where the district is going financially. So we start off in this year, 22-23, with our beginning fund balance of about 15.1 million. Then we have our revenue there, 52 million, which we saw in the previous slides. Our expenditures and the net change, which is that same $4.9 million that we talked about on the previous slide, which would bring our ending balance down to about 10.2 million. Then what happens is that ending balance becomes the beginning balance for the next year. So that's why you're seeing that same number up at the top of 23-24. So in 23-24, we would start off with about $10.2 million. We have our revenues and expenditures once again, and that change of about 1.1, which would bring our ending balance down to about 9 million. And once again, that ending balance becomes the next year's beginning balance. So in 2024, we're looking at a projected beginning balance of about 9 million. Then we have our revenues and expenditures, net change, and our ending balance we're projecting to come in at around $8.6 million. Now, something that I want to point out, and I believe I mentioned it also at first interim, is if you look across just on the revenue numbers, you'll see in this year going from 52.7 to next year about 48.7 million. And then in the third year out, it's going to about 44.6. So basically, through those 3 years, we're seeing our revenue decrease. And once again, the main reason that we're seeing our net revenue decrease throughout these next 2 years is attributable to the one-time funding. So what we're doing is, as that revenue is expiring, we're not including it back in our multi-year projections because we're not going to receive it again. And so that's why you're seeing our revenue decreasing from this year through 2024. And if we look at the expenditure line as well, we're seeing a similar thing happening there. So in this year, 22-23, we're projecting our expenditures of about 57.7 million. Then 23-24, we're projecting about 49.8 million. Then in the third year out, about 45 million. So once again, we're seeing our expenditures decrease, and once again, that's specifically tied to the one-time funding. As our revenue decreases, we're decreasing those expenditures accordingly. And so that's why you're seeing both revenues and expenditures decreasing throughout the next years, once again, because we are using up our one-time funding. So that would take us, oh my gosh, it's touchscreen. So once again, if we spend every dollar that's in the budget, we're projecting that our third year out, the 24-25 year, it would bring our ending balance down to about 8.6 million. Now, as I've said before, In my years of being here, I've never seen us spend every dollar that's budgeted in the budget. So in all likelihood, this number won't be, like, we won't see these drastic net change decreases like we're having here. However, nonetheless, we're required to budget in this fashion. And if we spend every dollar that's budgeted, this is where it will take us. So with that, I would like to thank the board for allowing me to give this presentation and see if you have any
Sabrina?
questions.
You have any questions?
No, thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. The only question is, do we have any of our projects budgeted in this current budget?
You're talking like facility capital projects or?
Everything that we have going, our our new projects, all our solar, all that's gonna be happening?
Yes, so as far as solar, basically we're entering into a PPA where, you know, we pay Terra Verde and some other miscellaneous expenses, but the entire cost of installing the solar is on DST. So they're responsible for buying everything, dealing with change orders, because they're gonna own the equipment, not us. Now, so if you're asking about are all the projects in here, yes, there's also, as far as the chiller project, that's about a $3.3 million project. We're paying for that out of ESSER's 3. That's in here as well. Regarding the 2 HVACs at Hester and Snowden, we're paying for those out of ESSER's 2. That's in here as well. There's a new bus in here that's to be funded out of ESSER's 3. That's in here as well. So yes, basically all of our capital facility projects that the board has, you know, brought up in various meetings, those are reflected in these numbers we're seeing tonight.
And I know we have I'm forgetting, the bond that was just passed,
Mhm.
so we're gonna have additional projects there.
Yes.
So we're gonna have a little bit so that we can be able to get through all those projects that, hopefully.
Yes. So once we actually do the bond, and I think the bond's going to be, my understanding is based in 3 series, and in total it's about $8 million. But once again, that money is different than what we're kind of seeing here in that the bond money basically has to be spent on facility projects
Right.
that was voter approved. So basically that money is not available for salary benefits, anything like that. It specifically has to be spent on capital facility projects, and that will be housed in an entirely different fund, not in the general fund, so it's not commingled. And yes, my hope is that once the board figures out which projects they want to pursue, we'll figure out a way to fund those projects.
In addition to all of that, we're also monitoring state and federal legislation and policies in supporting infrastructure for the schools. And so one of the things that Jason and I have been working on is in contracting out with a grant writing agency. It's better than getting a grant writer to actively seek out these grants, because if we can get these free monies to complete all the projects, because if we completed all the projects, we would be in the red, obviously, because everything's rising in cost. And so this is just to get things started, but we're not done yet. We're still going to be looking through these agencies and then working with Sacramento in making sure, and there are some things that are working down the pipeline, right, Jason, at the
Yeah.
federal, at the state and federal level. It's still not complete, but we're monitoring it closely, and hopefully it'll come out in our favor, where they'll be supporting especially districts that are from marginalized communities like ours, giving them priority. So there's additional money. We can't even count it at this time, but, you know, down the road, we'll be keeping you posted as far as our progress.
The other thing, did I hear something about possibly getting more funding for the meals from the government? Do they pay enough?
There are quite a few, which quite frankly, it's almost a full-time job to be monitoring all the different things, but there's a lot of legislation coming out. They're at different levels, at different stages of approval. And so that's something that we need to actively pursue, dealing with nutrition, dealing with transportation, dealing with infrastructure, the big 3 areas. And there's still talk about additional money to address the learning loss that continues to be the after effect of COVID. And so we're very hopeful. Of course, we cannot be assured yet, but it's hopeful that there's going to be additional support coming our way. And so we're cautiously apprehensive, lack of a better term. So we're making sure that we obviously stay in the black with regards to the budget, and hopefully these other monies will eventually kick in. So Jason and I are monitoring that closely, and we'll be keeping the board informed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, we built the tech center, and we had a bond. We used part of the bond, we held money back so that we could get more money from the bond coming back. Is that money in this report, or is that in a separate account, or?
Yeah, so we did receive a reimbursement from the state
Yeah,
because the district basically paid for use of its bond money to construct the CTE building. And so, yes, we received, I want to say it's about $1.3 million back from the state. So, but that is not in the general fund.
okay.
Believe it or not, where these monies have to go is identified like in the law. So that money has to be in a different fund, and I believe it's in 352, which is not before the board tonight, but if the board would like, I can, provide that at the next meeting.
And that's to be used for construction only, or, okay.
Yes, yes. Basically, any funds or any money that's held in like a 3 series fund, like a 350, 351, 352, has to be used for capital facility projects.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was because we had classrooms built, not
Yes.
the whole CTE building.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay, 17.0, future meeting dates.
Oh, we did 15.
Oh, 15, oh, where am I at?
15.4.
Oh, 15.4. We have to approve his report?
Yes.
15.4, approval of second period interim report and positive certification of financial status.
Move.
Alice
Second.
Lopez. Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay, 17.0, future meeting dates, 17.1, March 28th, 2023, April 18th, 2023. It's just
Change that a little bit.
misprint, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 20.0, adjournment to closed session,
It's 7:46.
46, 20.1, conference with labor negotiation, SGC 54957.6. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct its designated reps, agency designated representatives, Jeff Quinn, Jason Kraft, Manuel Mendez, name of organization, FTA, SCEA Management. 20.2, conference with legal counsel, anticipation litigation. Government Code, Section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D of Section 54956.9. 20.3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release complaint, Government Code 54957. And we will go to closed session. Okay. Dr. Chavez, you want to say a word there?
Yeah, so Jason, Jeff, and Manuel, if you could join us in the first part of closed session. Thank you.
back in open session at 8:43, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
43. Uh, 21.1, action taken on closed session items. 21.1, a conference with labor negotiations, GC 54957.6, is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct its designated reps, agency designated representatives, Jeff Wimp, Jason Kraft, Manuel Mendez, name of organization, FTA, CSEA, management, no action taken. 20.2, 21.2, conference with legal counsel, anticipate litigation, government code section 549, 56.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D of section 549, 56.9, no action taken. 21.3, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, government code 54957, no action taken. Adjourned at 8:45.
Move.
Second.
Alice Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.